Do you know what living room Feng Shui is? Welcome to the Harmony Teachings channel. Today let's talk about living room Feng Shui. If your living room has this one thing, you are living inside an energy field that can ruin both your money luck and your personal luck. In Feng Shui, the living room is not just a place to sit and relax. It is the spot with the strongest yang energy in the entire home, the place that creates the rhythm of prosperity for the whole family. The more family members gather here, the stronger the yang energy becomes, and the stronger the yang energy is, the easier it is for wealth to come and stay. But just one thing out of place, one image, one object, or even one feeling can damage this energy field instantly. And when the prosperity energy is harmed, money starts to slip away. Good luck gets cut off, and the atmosphere at home grows colder without anyone understanding why. In the next few minutes, I will point out 5 things that must never be placed in the living room, because they are the strongest yang draining points. After that, I will show you 6 things that must be placed correctly, so the living room becomes a space that attracts wealth energy, holds wealth energy, and nourishes wealth energy every single day. If you watch until the end, you will not only know how to bring prosperity into your home, but you will also feel a clear sense of warmth, relief, and happiness spreading through the very space you live in. And if you want a deeper understanding of how Feng Shui works in everyday life, subscribe to the Harmony Teachings channel right now. Now, it is time for you to face the issue directly, because there are 5 things that must never appear in the living room. And if even one of them is in the wrong place, you have already activated the strongest wealth-destroying point in your entire home. In Feng Shui, it is true that plants like cacti have strong yang energy, but that is only in theory. In real life, thorny plants are something you must never place in the living room, because they create far more risks than benefits. The first and most obvious issue is that thorns cause injuries. The living room is where children run around, pets play, and adults move constantly. Just one light bump into a thorny plant, a scratch, a cut, a sudden sting can happen instantly. And in Feng Shui, anything that makes people prone to getting hurt is considered a point that drains yang energy, because yang energy is tied to safety, warmth, and vitality. The second issue is that sharp-edged plants create harsh energy in the living space. The living room is where the family's prosperous energy gathers. But when too many thorny tips are pointing outward, the space becomes dry, tense, and uncomfortable. People in the home become irritable, unable to sit still for long, and guests feel uneasy without knowing why. The most dangerous of all are plants that are withered, drooping, or half alive and half dead. In Feng Shui, these are sources of decaying energy, symbolizing decline. Placing decaying energy in the living room is no different from placing a signal that says the energy here is weakening, falling, and losing vitality. That is why all thorny plants or plants that contain toxins should be placed on the balcony. If the home does not have a balcony, it is best not to keep any thorny plant in the living room at all. This is not a decorating rule. It is a way to protect your family's yang energy and prosperity energy. The living room must be a place that creates a feeling of happiness and connection. In Feng Shui, this is the area with the strongest yang energy, and yang energy only grows when people feel a sense of belonging with one another. But solitary imagery, such as a single chair turned away from the room, a statue of one person standing alone, or a painting of someone looking into empty space, releases isolated energy, causing the room to lose its sense of connection. The Feng Shui mechanism is very clear. The image determines the energy. A solitary object creates solitary energy. Solitary energy spreads through the space, and people absorb it unconsciously. Do you know this? People often change their behavior based on their environment without realizing it. If your living room is filled with images of being alone, your subconscious will gradually prefer being by yourself, staying distant, and staying quiet. This is not superstition. It is a natural psychological response when someone lives in a space that carries a frequency of separation. People who spend long periods of time in a living room with isolated energy tend to talk less, open up less, and the older they get, the easier it is for them to feel lonely right inside their own home. On the other hand, imagery that comes in pairs, such as two chairs facing each other, two decorative pieces placed side by side, or two balanced visual elements, it makes people more likely to talk, to share, and it helps keep the family atmosphere warm and harmonious. Because of that, you do not need to eliminate everything altogether. You only need to restore balance by adding a second item to create a pair, turning a single chair so it is not facing away, or placing a connecting object nearby to neutralize the solitary energy. The solution is very simple. Turn being alone into being together. When you do that, the living room returns to its true purpose, a place that nourishes the bond of the entire family. The living room must never create a feeling of coldness, sadness, or gloom in Feng Shui. This space is supposed to be the gathering point of life energy, the flow of living energy that nourishes the fortune of the entire home. But when the living room feels empty, lacks a human presence, and has no warmth, it stops being a true living room. It becomes a pass-through space, a place where energy enters and then slides right out without staying. The Feng Shui mechanism is very clear. Where people gather, life energy gathers. Where life energy is strong, prosperity grows. If the living room feels cold, yang energy cannot form. And without yang energy, prosperity cannot appear. Real life proves this as well. A living room that feels too empty makes people not want to sit down, not want to stay. When the family rarely uses the living room, life energy drops. Wealth energy cannot accumulate. It is not because the room is unattractive, but because the space lacks a sense of belonging. The living room needs enough warmth to keep people there, because people themselves have life energy. If no one wants to stay in that space, the living room falls into a state of dead energy. Energy enters but does not remain. The solution is not to fill the room with things. The solution is to create comfort, to create anchors. So the energy recognizes that this is a place meant for people. A soft chair, a warm rug, a small corner that carries a family touch. That comfort is the best pathway to prosperity. If the living room makes you want to stay, life energy will stay. And when life energy stays, wealth energy will come. In Feng Shui, any object shaped like something sharp, violent, or made for combat creates a type of energy known as attacking energy. Attacking energy is not a nurturing force. It is a force of aggression. It puts the energy field of the living room into a constant state of defense, alertness, and tension. Displayed weapons such as swords, knives, or bows, or statues of fierce animals baring their teeth, or staring aggressively. All of these release battle energy. This means the space always feels as if it is preparing for conflict. It does not feel peaceful. It does not feel warm. It does not feel gentle. And when the living room carries battle energy, yang energy cannot gather, because yang energy can only stay in a place that feels warm, safe, and harmonious. Attacking energy forces the human body to raise its natural alertness. And you will notice it clearly. Sitting in the living room becomes difficult to relax. You become irritated easily. Your body feels tense, and conversations fall out of sync. Even guests can sense it. They will feel uncomfortable and will not want to stay long. A clear sign that the energy field is pushing people away instead of welcoming them. From a Feng Shui perspective, a living room filled with attacking energy is like placing the family in a daily state of confrontation. Spouses are more likely to argue. Children feel more stressed. Wealth cannot stay in a place filled with conflict. Prosperity only settles in a space with settled harmony. Just one weapon hanging in the wrong spot, just one fierce statue facing the wrong direction, and the living room will take on a layer of energy that resists, repels, and pushes away. When the living room carries attacking energy, wealth energy never stays for long. It leaves the moment it arrives. That is why all weapons, fierce animal statues, and aggressive imagery, no matter how beautiful or luxurious they may be, must be removed from the living room. They do not belong in a space meant to nourish the family's yang energy and prosperity. The living room must radiate life energy, warmth, and forward-moving energy. It is the center of yang energy in the entire home. But photos of those who have passed away, mourning artwork, or dark and somber images carry a completely different type of energy, the energy of stopping. It's the energy of stopping. An energy that just, when placed in the living room, it directly conflicts with the forward-flowing movement of yang energy. The mechanism is very clear. The living room needs living energy to nourish prosperity, but imagery connected to loss pulls the human mind back into the past. When the mind moves backward, the energy moves downward as well. The space loses the aliveness it needs, and it no longer has the energetic rhythm that draws prosperity in. This is not superstition. It is simply how the energy field reacts. When the central area of the home carries a sad frequency, joyful energy and wealth energy slow down. The space becomes heavy, unable to create warmth, unable to generate fresh life energy. The living room, which is supposed to support growth, unintentionally holds the family in a state of stillness. It is not because you are honoring someone who has passed away. It is because the energy has been placed in the wrong location. The living room needs the energy of the living, the energy of people moving forward, the energy that creates prosperity for the family. It is not the right place to display images that represent closure. Therefore, all photos of the deceased or mourning imagery should be moved to a private space. The living room must always remain a place of life, openness, and growth. We have just removed the things that weaken yang energy, but removing them is not enough. An empty living room, even without harmful objects, still cannot hold wealth energy if it does not have the right items to anchor that energy. In Feng Shui, removing things incorrectly is not as effective as placing things correct. And fixing the living room is not about buying a few Feng Shui items and arranging them to look nice. You are reorganizing the foundational energy of the entire space. If you want the living room to truly hold good fortune, nourish yang energy and become the place where life energy gathers every single day. Then now you need to add 6 essential elements. These elements are the foundation that allows the living room not only to be free from negative energy, but also to have enough life energy to draw wealth in and keep wealth there. If thorny plants create harsh energy, then round-leaf, vibrant green plants are the perfect counterbalance. In Feng Shui, round leaves generate gentle energy, helping the energy in the living room flow smoothly, settle naturally, and spread evenly. Green plants naturally release life energy, so choosing the right type in the right place will add a very strong dose of positive energy to the home. The plant should be shorter than eye level so it does not block yang energy or create pressure in your line of sight. Meanwhile, a fresh green color represents living energy. The greener it is, the stronger the life energy becomes. With just one round leaf plant placed correctly, the living room immediately feels softer. A perfect replacement for the thorny plants mentioned in the forbidden list, and a natural method to help the living room hold wealth energy. If gloomy artwork pulls the energy downward, then bright open landscape artwork with depth does the opposite. It opens the path for energy to move. In Feng Shui, any image that creates a sense of spaciousness, openness, and forward direction helps the flow of energy move more easily and spread farther. It is like you are creating an extra pathway for prosperity to enter your home. Artwork with depth also creates a visual effect that draws the eye outward, instantly making the energy field of the living room feel brighter and more open. This is one of the strongest ways to break the feeling of confinement, heaviness, or blocked energy without renovating the house or changing the furniture with just one bright landscape painting. A pathway, a body of water, open mountains, or a valley. The living room immediately gains a direction, an expanded feeling, and fresh life energy. It is the perfect counterbalance to the dark imagery mentioned in the forbidden list, and it is the simplest way to draw energy in, guide it deeper, and keep it in place. One of the strongest items for increasing life energy in the living room is a happy family photo. In Feng Shui, this anchors the frequency of love, a soft, warm energy that spreads more powerfully than any Feng Shui object. When the living room displays an image of togetherness, the space immediately becomes a center of a place where everyone sits separately. A family photo is not just decoration. It is a very clear signal to the energy field that says this is a place meant for people. This is a place filled with emotion. And life energy always gathers most strongly in spaces that hold warm feelings. Just one photo placed in the right spot is enough to draw the living room's energy closer together, giving the entire home a clearer rhythm, making conversations easier and encouraging share. This is one of the simplest ways to strengthen yang energy and keep prosperity staying in the home. One of the strongest ways to elevate the quality of energy in the living room is to place a bookshelf or a small reading corner. In Feng Shui, books carry intellectual energy, the kind of energy that opens the mind, sharpens thinking, and attracts good opportunities. Any space that carries intellectual energy naturally draws heights. The living room is both a place to welcome guests and a place that reflects the energetic character of the homeowner. A small reading corner, even with just a few books, creates the feeling that this is a home with knowledge, depth, and direction. An energy field like that easily attracts supportive people and new opportunities. You do not need a large library. You only need a small, neat, clean shelf with a few books you genuinely love. The more those books are touched and used, the stronger the intellectual energy becomes, and the more prosperous the living room will feel. In the fifth position, the one thing the living room absolutely must have is a sofa. In Feng Shui, the sofa is considered the seat of authority for the homeowner. If that seat is not stable, your personal fortune will also be unstable. That is why the back of the sofa must rest firmly against a wall, as if there were a mountain supporting you from behind. The moment you sit down, you should feel secure. The sofa should also face the door. This is not about watching who comes in or goes out, but about staying in a position where you can see opportunities. The main entrance is where wealth energy enters. A sofa that faces the door means you are not turning your back on your own good fortune. Finally, the sofa must be comfortable. A sofa that is difficult to sit on will prevent life, and the living room only truly gains yang energy when people want to stay, want to sit down, and feel that they belong in that space. A sofa placed in the right position is how you reset your stance, reset your energy, and reset the prosperity of the entire. The final item you should place in the living room is a round or oval decoration. In Feng Shui, rounded shapes create gentle energy, helping the energy move more smoothly and gather more easily. This is the simplest way to soften sharp corners in the room. You can use a round vase, a circular plate, a stone sphere, or any decorative object with a curved surface. When placed correctly, these objects prevent the energy from hitting a corner and scattering. Instead, the energy follows the curved shape, slows down, and settles into the center of the living room. Round objects are not only easy to match with any decor, but they also act as an impact reducer in Feng Shui, reducing collision, reducing dispersion, and reducing harsh energetic radiation. A small item, but incredibly effective, especially for living rooms with many sharp corners or narrow walkways. Now, you can clearly see this. The 5 forbidden items are the things we place in the living room without thinking and without realizing it. We push wealth energy out of the house every single day. Meanwhile, the 6 recommended items are the ways you actively open the path for wealth energy to enter, stay, and nourish prosperity for the entire family. You do not need to change everything in one day. The one spot that makes you feel heavy when you heard this video, fixing just 1 point already shifts the direction of the energy flow. Fixing 2 points means the fortune of the home has already begun to move. And once you truly see the difference between energy that pushes wealth away and energy that holds wealth in place, this is the moment you step into the most important part. The living room is not just the place where you put a sofa. It is the place that determines whether money comes in, stays, or quietly slips out of your life. Remember this, just one image in the wrong spot can pull money out of your home. But one correct change can turn the direction of your family's entire fortune. Right after this video ends, do just one very simple thing. Remove one item that you clearly know is carrying bad energy and replace it with something you just heard about in this video: a family photo, a round leaf plant, or a round decoration to soften the sharp corners. Do not let your living room accidentally chase money away for even one more day. If you want to make a commitment to yourself, leave a comment that says, "Starting today, my living room will keep only what invites wealth in, not what drives wealth away." And if what you just heard makes you look at your living room with a new perspective, please like, share, and subscribe to Harmony Teachings. Because in your home there are still many small corners quietly communicating with your financial luck. And I will reveal them one by one in the upcoming videos. Thanks for watching. If you found today's content helpful, feel free to subscribe to Harmony Teachings. See you in the next video.